There's a word in the English language, glazomaniac, Glazomaniac. It is one who has an inordinate fascination with list making. There's a lot of lists all over the internet right now. A lot of glazomaniacs, perhaps. People that need to compartmentalize and organize their thoughts to a list so they make more sense to them. Well, I fall in that category as well. I have a list today. It's Nas' top 5 songs for me, personal. These are subjective. These are not objective songs. So for anyone that doesn't like my list, understand that this is my list. These are not what I think to be the best Nas songs. These are my favorite Nas songs. And there is a difference. And a lot of you out there don't seem to understand the difference between something you like and something that is objectively good. And that is the difference between subjectivity and objectivity. And if you guys don't know that, then you probably should before you watch videos such as mine. I've been listening to Nas for a really long time. He is my favorite rapper of all time, my favorite hip hop artist of all time, my favorite poet of all time. There are a lot of great Nas songs to pick through. And I, in the beginning, was like, I don't even know how I'm going to pick a list of only 5 songs because I could just pick 5 off of Illmatic and just call it a day, right? But I don't want to do that. I wanted to truly think about like my history with Nas as a listener, as a consumer, and figure out what songs resonated with me the most since the very beginning, what songs have really grabbed me, what songs have meant the most to me, what songs are just my personal favorites, which ones do I favor? That's what favorite means. It means something you favor over other things, right? So these are my favorites. And starting at number 5 is from a lesser known Nas album called The Lost Tapes. Some hip hop pundits consider Lost Tapes to even be a classic or very close to a classic. It is by and large the byproduct of the bootlegging of I Am, the autobiographical album that Nas was working on in the latter 90s, early 2000s. And some of those songs didn't make it onto I Am because of the bootlegging, and they ended up on the Lost Tapes here. Some of the versions are a little different. Some of them are not. However, number 5 on my list, there are 2 different versions of it. The instrumental was changed for the Lost Tapes album version, but there is an unreleased version that was originally meant to be put on I Am. And if you don't know what this song is, that song is Fetus. This is the song where Nas raps from the perspective of a child in the womb. He talks about the cervix. He talks about the weed in the bloodstream going through, about being born with rhythm, about witnessing the abuse through his belly button window. Just high class, top tier storytelling, lyricism, imagery, conceptualization, perfect execution. In my opinion, arguably the most underrated Nas song in his entire catalog. I was blown away the first time I heard it. I know that he has a tendency to personify like things and objects, and he's done that historically throughout his career, but this is possibly my favorite example, even over I Give You Power, just because of the abstract nature of writing from the perspective of a baby in the womb. It's just nuts to think about to me. So that would be number 5, Fetus. Number 4 is Memory Lane. I'm not going to spend too much time on Memory Lane because I think most of us know Memory Lane. But the reason I pick it is because when I first heard Illmatic, New York State of Mind was my favorite song on Illmatic, right? And, then Represent and then Memory Lane, and like there was like over a period of time, like I like different songs more than others. And I sort of almost like went in and out of these phases with these different songs on this one album. And I love all the songs on the album, although One Time for Your Mind is my least favorite of all the songs. But I love all the songs. What I don't love is that Memory Lane Represent, New York State of Mind, One Love, all these great songs are on one album, and it's sort of hard to even pick a great song or a favorite song off a great album like that. I think historically that's probably a good criteria for a classic. Is if you have a hard time or fans are very divided about what song's the best, or it's very mixed up about what people's favorite songs are, then this is probably pretty indicative that this is a classic album, or at least teetering classic status. And I say that because timelessness, I think, is a good definition of what classic means, right? And if you've got a bunch of different songs that are resonating with different types of people over a period of time, to me, that sort of inherently means that there's some timelessness to these records. So with Memory Lane, I mean, it just became eventually one of my favorite songs on Illmatic, maybe my favorite song on Illmatic at times. But what I really love about it is it's just Nas at his best because it's Nas in nostalgia mode, right? If Nas should stand for anything, it should be nostalgia because that's where to me he is his best when he's looking back at his life. Even at 18, 19, 20 years old on Illmatic, he talks like someone that has lived a very long time already. Um, and so as he gets older, you just see it even more. Like he's always reminiscing, looking back, and this nostalgic value is there. So a song like Memory Lane that is about nostalgia and just looking back on him coming up, I think really encapsulates what Nas does the best into one song. And it is right basically in the middle of Illmatic. It's like one of the centerpieces of Illmatic to me. I mean, I find it to be the song I go back to on Illmatic the most at this point. Number three is off the Untitled album. Now, this is produced by Jay Electronica. It's Queens Get the Money, right? And it's basically spoken word. If you never heard this, it's basically Nas over some keys. And it's how the Untitled album starts off. I think to this day, it's the strongest cut on the album. The album only had, that I can remember, one single, and that was Hero with, was it Carrie Hilson or somebody like that? Um, and it, I mean, it wasn't, I remember thinking that Hero was not really sonically what I wanted to hear from Nas. And there was some of the songs on the album I wasn't crazy about. And then conceptually, like I really love some of the songs like Project Roach or Fried Chicken even though Fried Chicken is a little bit like cringy now, maybe, like the Busta verse specifically. He was ripping that shit up. And just the analogy, fried chicken with women. I mean, and then the nature of the album, like thematically, it all goes together, it tracks. But Queens Get the Money is very different sonically than the rest of the album, right? Content-wise, it's not that different, but it's just Nas doing spoken word on a piano, like you don't get much better than that. And it is the intro, and I do feel that Nas has always excelled in intros. You look at the Stillmatic intro. I mean, if you don't count Genesis, New York State of Mind, it's a great intro for an album. He's done this multiple times, right? I'm trying to think, like, Magic with what's the one that comes on Magic? I can't remember. If you guys remember the first song on Magic, that's gonna drive me crazy. But anyway, Queens Get the Money, he's really just talking about the state of the game. There's some shots at 50 here, who I was a big fan of, up until around that point. But this is like getting to the like Curtis before I self-destruct era, like the post G Unit, like real G Unit era of 50. And before Kanye sort of took over everything commercially. So yeah, man, 50 had kind of fallen out of good graces with a lot of people. He gets some shots on here. There's some slick ass wordplay. Nas's use of alliteration and imagery, as always, just top tier lyricism. He speaks on things politically here. Just goes sort of all over the place in a very short period of time. Accomplishes quite a bit lyrically. There's a feeling that I get when I listen to this, and how it opens the album up. I can't put it anywhere but number 3 on my list. Number 2 is New York State of Mind. Rappers and monkeys flipping with the funky rappers and monkeys flipping with the funky rhythm. I be kicking, musician, inflict the competition with pain. I'm like Scarface, sniffing cocaine, holding that M16, see with the pen and extreme now. This is what I grew up listening to. So the dirty, grimy New York energy, the iconic hook, the DJ Premier beat, da, da, nah, nah. It's just, I used to walk around my city with that shit in my ears, like doing things I wasn't supposed to be doing back in like 2008, 2009. Like that's what I was walking around committing crimes to. So, and I'm not from New York. I'm from VA, but I had a New York state of mind. You better believe. And I thank Nasir Jones for that. I love that this song, this doesn't ever get talked about, so I'm going to use this as a chance to talk about this. But I learned this from Nas very early on. New York State of Mind's only got 2 16s. It's not 3. I mean, 2 24s. It's not 3 16s. It's 2 24s. And what I learned is that storytelling tracks, specifically, and there's a lot of storytelling in this song, storytelling tracks do really well with that type of length because you get the story broken up less because there's 2 verses instead of 3. You just compensate by throwing an extra 8 bars on each verse. He's not the only one that's ever done it. I don't know that it had been done before this in this way. I don't know. I'm not going to speak on that. If anybody knows the answer to that, I would love to know the answer to that question. But the fact that he goes in, right, 2 24-bar verses straight, and then, Premier says that he did it all in one take. It's just amazing to me. It's just such an amazing feat of performance. And then, when he wrote this, I do think that this song really captures the essence of Nas and being in New York around that time. I can't really speak enough on it. It's a classic. Everyone that's familiar with Nas pretty much knows it and loves it. I think any real hip hop head knows it and loves it. The city never sleeps, full of villains and creeps. That's where I learned to do my hustle. Had to scuffle with freaks. I'm an addict for sneakers. It's just crazy. Number 1. So going from number 2, number 1. My number 1 Nas song of all time. It's not from Illmatic. It's not from Stillmatic. It's not from Godson. Any of the King's Diseases. It's from Lost Tapes. My favorite Nas song of all time is My Way, produced by The Alchemist. I first heard it on a snippet. I want to say it was Stillmatic. I think it was either, it had to been Stillmatic, I think, that had the version I had, the CD, had a snippet CD of the Lost Tapes, and it had the My Way snippet on it, along with, I think, Do Rags and No Ideas Original, maybe. Definitely No Ideas Original, actually. But that's when I first heard it. So then once I figured out what that was, I went and got the Lost Tapes. And that immediately became my favorite Nas song. It has been my favorite Nas song now for 20 fucking years. Word to Will, buried in his fila suit and a heavy chain. I want to be iced up, bury me the same. I live for street glory and I die for ghetto fame. Respect all, fear none, and my pride is everything. I don't know that I've ever heard words that resonated with me more. Uh, I don't know that I've ever heard a hip hop song that got under my skin the way the verse does when he talks about touching ill will, dead. He says, I wonder what he saw. Was it limo movies and tours? Did he die in vain or represent for the cause? Now I put his name on everything I'm involved. And that's the game. If y'all can't relate, then fuck y'all. I just lost my best friend a year before I heard this song for the first time. I will never put another Nas song above this song.
I used to feel everything like the world smile. Guess I listened too much Nas, had to serve time. Blur lines, separate reality from fiction. 7 years incarcerated, 2 of which I spent in prison. Counselor, he believed that I learned death. Being hungry as a child, that's why I hearse less. Starving artist, desensitized, now I'm perplexed. What's the meaning of it all? What's my purpose?